All right, I'm working on my antenna match, and I mentioned it had this old SWR circuit in it, and I wanted to upgrade it. I don't remember. It's one of these old Japanese SWR bridges with the two RF couplers in it. So there's just two parallel RF couplers and a detector diode on this side, detector diode capacitor, and over here, detector diode capacitor. One measures the power going that way, and one measures the power going that way. So forward power and reflected power, and there you go. So those work good. But I kind of wanted to upgrade it a bit. I don't think these are quite linear with frequency. So there's a new circuit out, this one here, and it's too small to see. Uses two toroids, and one of the toroids works in the forward direction, one of them works in the reverse direction. The reason they work, though, is non-trivial, so I'm not going to try to explain that on this video because it's very complicated. One of the even though these are identical, one of them is used in voltage mode and one of them is used in current mode, and yeah, it's a non-trivial exercise in how these things actually work. Anyway, here's the schematic for it. The transmitter comes in here. It goes through a one turn, which is just a wire through a center of one of these. So transmitter goes in, it goes through one core. That couples some power into this one, and then the antenna hooks up on this side, and any reflected power this way gets through this one and gets reflected over here. And so it's actually quite non-obvious. So you would think this would be the forward power, and forward would come out here, but this is actually reversed, and then this is actually the reverse. You think this is actually forward. Yeah, so I pulled out the original document. So this is also called a Stockton bridge because it was kind of popularized by this guy, David Stockton, G4 or ZNQ, a bidirectional inline watt meter. So good accuracy, frequency independent, no adjustments, low insertion loss, a wide power range, simple to build. Anyway, so this is obviously in the days when you actually had to type things, and everything is hand drawn. So is there a date on this thing? It's interesting. Post from Conga. He's from Conga. Wow. Anyway, here's the thing he built. I don't know what year this is. Looks pretty vintage. Definitely looks vintage. Let's see here. Let's take a look at his drawing. So here's his drawing. So it should be the same. We come in here and we go through one turn, and then we come out to the power load. And when we get through that one turn, we go through this one, and it comes out here. And it says this is the reverse. And then it comes over this way, and it says this is the forward. And so, yeah, it's opposite what you would think. There's 250 ohm loads. This is a one turn, so this is just a hunk of wire, so you would think these would short each other out. They'd short each other out. The forward sample and the reverse sample are just a wire in between, so it just looks like it won't work at all. But I know they do. So anyway, I bought this one off of someplace, I don't know. You can find them everywhere. And they were actually the same price in a kit form and built form, so I just bought one built. And I don't think they were definitely less than 10 bucks, you know, probably like $8 or something. Anyway, looks like a nice board. Looks like everything was built well. 250 ohm resistors and some diodes. They look like maybe they're germanium diodes. Yeah, so I had some question about what was called in and what was called out, though, on this board. So you can see here that the transmitter would be the in, right? You go in here, you go through one turn, and then you go out. And then the tap to the second coil is on the transmitter, is on the load side, is on the antenna side. Now, if you take a look at how this is constructed, the tap to the second transformer is on this side. And they call that RF in, and I just don't believe that's true. I think they actually labeled this one wrong. The transmitter should come in this side, and the antenna should go at that side. And then this should be the forward, this should be the, let's see, this should be the reverse side, and it's labeled forward. So I think this is actually labeled all upside down. So yeah, so let's double check that. All right, so I've traced out this board, and this is what it looks like. And so if we compare it to, this one, it looks very. Can I get that on camera? Let me zoom out. Zoom out. So if we compare it to this one, the place that taps to the winding, this winding here, would be on the antenna side, but they're calling it in. And then the first transformer has this winding, and it comes off to the reverse direction. So yeah, it's completely, the PC board labeling on this thing is completely backwards. So maybe that's why they're cheap, or maybe that's why people don't get them to work or something. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if people just wire these up as is and complain about what they do, because they're not labeled correctly. They're just not labeled correctly. So yeah. Oh well. Let's hook it up the right way and see if it works. I thought I'd give you a close-up here, just so you can see the labeling, forward and reverse, and RF in, RF out. Yeah, completely backwards. So if you ever get one of these, RF in is actually RF, well, RF in is antenna, RF out is transmitter, and forward is reverse, and reverse is forward. So yeah, so there you go. All right, it does seem to work. So I'm going to be transmitting some CW. Yes, I've identified, and we can see the power is coming up, and our reflected power is sitting there at 0. And let me adjust the knob here. You can see the reflected power come up. Let me 0 it. So there's a perfect match. We can also look down here at the SWR meter inside the radio, and it matches the same thing. It gives me good SWR here when it dips. So yeah, the inductor is kind of all the way to that end. The capacitor is about 3/4 of the way engaged. So at least on 20 meters, it's working great. The meter does work, but it's not calibrated yet, especially on the high power side. I'm only transmitting 5% of 100, so 5 watts. I'm only transmitting 5 watts right now. Yeah, so the forward power is getting me something. And like I said, the reflected power is working great. It's kind of a funny match needle system. Usually the match needles go the opposite way. I've got a MFJ that does this, where the two both come up this way, whereas this one, yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. But it does seem to do what it's supposed to do. And the capacitor range is at least fine on 20 meters. I guess it will be telling if I have enough capacitance at lower frequencies or not. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. Let me show you inside. All right, so I have the little SWR bridge here mounted on a piece of plastic. There was some debate on what that plastic was. Somebody suggested it was Delrin. I knew it wasn't Delrin. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but it's actually high density polyethylene, HDPE. And I've got two big blocks. I've got a big block of this stuff, and I've got a big block of ABS, and I wasn't quite sure which one I cut it from. My friend's got like a big pile of ABS that he can give me at any time, but I had this one kind of cut out already into the thicknesses that I needed, and I just lopped off a piece on the bandsaw and threw it in there. So it's nice and insulated now. I did go ahead and put in some braid, so the grounds are good here. The input to output is going through this back piece of sheet metal, so it's got a great ground from connector to connector. And then inside the box, you know, it does what it does. Yeah, but yeah, it seems to work great. There are two potentiometers here to adjust the intensities or the amount of current that goes into the meter. It seems to be too high for this meter though, at least on the forward power. So I need to probably put in a shunt resistor or something to dial this in. But the meter does work. I didn't know that the meter operated yet, so the meter does seem to work. The inductor works, the capacitor works, and these are the settings that made 20 meters work. So like I said, the capacitor is about 75% of the way engaged, and the inductor roller is right about on this coil here. So yeah, looks great. So I believe it's an improvement from when I received it. At least I'm happier with it. Will I use it? No, I don't really need it. The ICOM has an antenna tuner built in, and it matches my antenna everywhere except for 40 meters. And then I've got this little MFJ thing here that's adjusted perfectly for 40 meters. I added a pass switch on it. So on every single band, I keep this thing off, so it just goes through here. This is not in the circuit. And then on 40 meters, I just have to flip the switch up, and then I matched it 40 meters. So, so I have a nice setup. I don't really need this thing down here. It was just a pet project. I got it, like I said, for a few bucks, and decided it was time to make it nice. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it. I could have bought a much bigger capacitor. But I didn't want to spend any money on it, and this one was a good price, like 10 bucks or something for a really nice Hammerlin. This is 200 picofarads. If I needed to go higher, I could go higher. Some people commented that that's why the other guy put in that big tuner that had a lot more capacitance. He actually didn't have those other blades hooked up, so he wasn't using the full range of that capacitor anyway. And I believe the reason he used it because it was cheap, it was free. Maybe it wasn't the best choice. I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, don't put those things in the transmit circuit because the plates will short out, and you know. Anyway, there's both sides of the story. I think, you know, for QRP work, that other one's probably fine. Maybe for higher values, higher currents, voltages, this one's better. I believe this is probably a much better bridge circuit for the SWR meter. Seems to work fine. I'm still confused a bit about whether it's in there backwards or not. But I need to investigate that a little longer, but it does seem to do what it does. I am able to zero it out. And if I really want to know forward power and everything, I can just look at the radio, and the radio tells me everything I need. It's got the SWR meter, it's got the power meter, and it's got everything else built into it. So I really don't need this external stuff anymore for a lot of things. But yeah, people are curious about what antenna I'm matching to. It's an end-fed random length. I think it's 66 feet or something like that. Random length. It does have a bunch of dips in it, but they aren't exactly on frequency, so you need to tune it up. And the internal tuners, the ICOM, can grab everything except for 40 meters, where the dips are at the very worst. The dips are happening pretty close to all the other bands, except 40 meters, there's no dip at all. So yeah, it needs a lot more help. But it's just a super simple antenna up on the roof. It does have an un on it, so 49 to 1 un, I think. It's either a 9 to 1 or 49 to 1. I don't remember which one it is, but yeah, it works fine. Just as a side note, yesterday there was a contest on, and I turned on the radio, and I don't know what possessed me to go to 10 meters, because 10 meters is like dead, right? And suddenly I heard a guy in Hawaii, and I talked to him, and then I tuned around and thought, what? 10 meters works to Hawaii? What? And I tuned around, and I got a guy in Australia. So 10 meters to Australia from California in the very worst of sunspot cycles. So yeah, go figure. I don't know. And he was like not in the noise at all. He was like talking on a cell phone. I mean, it was like crystal clear. It was really strange. Oh well. So what do you know? Ham radio's interesting.